Okay, so let's talk about what's been going on because I talk about it all day anyway. It intrudes every facet of my life. I can't have a normal conversation at this point. Might as well continue to make it a public record. First, I'll just get this out of the way. I'm a felon. It's not that hard to become one, especially these days. My story isn't unique. It started when my life completely changed after I was struck by a car while crossing the street back in 2020. The car was going 40 miles per hour. Needless to say, I did almost die. Had to learn to walk again. All that. After that, I ended up homeless, started using again, got popped for possession. I was just walking down the street with a warrant that I knew I had, in public, and I had a bunch of drugs on me, and they picked me up. So anyway, I did my time and paid my case off. I thought I had moved on from that point in my life. I took responsibility and I paid my debt to society and the legal system as well. That's my past. It doesn't mean that I'm a bad person, and it doesn't mean that I'm a criminal. It definitely doesn't give the police a right to target me. Like I said, my first really bad interaction with law enforcement was my DUI arrest, which is detailed on my YouTube page. The entire arrest is actually there to view. And that was my first interaction with really unaccountable law enforcement and really assumptive, presumptive, hunch type law, which law is not based on hunches. It's not. So anyway, the current issue that I'm navigating at this point is in Reno County, Hutchinson, Kansas. It's really on a whole nother level, and I'm very nervous making this video, but it's important. So it started on March 27th, 2024, when I finally kicked my abusive ex, Anthony Chenoweth, out of my apartment. I have the ring video of it. 2 days later, on March 29th, I got home from work, and he's in my apartment. I have ring video, of course, once again of him and the upstairs neighbor breaking into my apartment while I was at work and bringing things in and out while I was at work. I have video of this as well. Having people in and out of my apartment that I don't know while I was gone. When I got home that evening, I had already had plans to go and meet with my family for Easter weekend. So I got home, I got my things together, and Anthony had offered to let me use his vehicle, this vehicle that he had just suddenly acquired, and it felt strange. I drove around the block, and then I parked it, and I was like, I'm going to get a different ride. So anyway, I got a different ride, and I left town. Left the entire stressful situation because I was overwhelmed, and I didn't really have boundaries at that point. So less than 45 minutes after I left town to go be with my family, the cops show up. So when I went out to the truck, I didn't even look to see where Anthony went. Honestly, I couldn't have cared less. He had broken into my apartment after I had forced him out, and I just felt completely helpless. So the cops come and they knock on my door, and that is when I speak with Detective Dalton Leonard. So, so when we interact on the Ring doorbell, and here's where the lie is formulated. Initially, I have here Officer Leonard's sworn affidavit for the search warrant. It is actually one of the exhibits in my case currently. And I have the transcript as well and the video. So I have about 7 minutes of recorded conversation between myself and Leonard where I explain to him that I'm not in town, I don't have a vehicle, and that there's nothing I can do from where I'm at. If I was there, I'd let him in. But, you know, I don't know anything about anything that's going on at my apartment because I'm not there. And he confirms in our conversation, and I have evidence of this, that my timeline matched up because he had seen me leaving 30 minutes prior on my neighbor's Ring doorbell. In his sworn affidavit, Dalton Leonard says, and I quote, Claycomb stated she did not know why the cops were here and she was out of state. Claycomb stated she was the only person who resides in her apartment and no one else should be there. Claycomb stated she was confused and did not want to deal with this right now. Out of state. Something he fabricated. Okay? So, I also do need to point out that then he took the truth that I told him, the confirmation and the initial conversation that we had, that what I was telling him was the truth, and he turned it into the reason that I was lying. Allegedly, it says here, I was able to make contact with Claycomb again through the Ring doorbell camera. Claycomb stated she had left 30 minutes ago from her apartment and no one was with her nor in her apartment, but she did not want us to bang her door in. After I called her out on her inconsistent story, she hung up from the Ring doorbell camera. Which is not what happened. All right, so he swore under oath that I gave him an inconsistent story, which is a lie, and it's a lie that let them kick my door in, basically. And who do they find inside? Anthony Chenoweth, who is a career criminal with a rap sheet as long as my arm, which I'm not really sure if they're very long or not, but maybe as broad as my shoulders. Either way, I can go ahead and prove that right here. This is from the district court website. 60 cases for Anthony Chenoweth. His career criminality history started when I was 12. So just keep that in mind. All right, so that leads us to the 30th, when I get back to town. There's a lot that happens in between here, of course, but I have to get my story out, because if I don't get it out by October 8th and there's not some type of public knowledge about what's going on, I'm afraid that the motions that I have filed are not going to be argued correctly, nor will they be heard the way that they should be heard. So just kind of get it compressed into whatever. I have a confession as well that was included in my discovery. So the state, the DA, are the ones that included this exculpatory evidence. But it says here, you can't read it because it's very small, but I can read it. Well, I'll hold it up. I can read it to you as well. But basically, it says, I told them everything in there that was stolen, illegal, or drug-related was mine. I told them to leave you alone and leave you out of this. So let's be clear. The police had a written confession from the guy they found at the scene, and they chose to charge me instead. Because why do real police work when you can just prosecute the felon? Easy peasy. I get back 2 days later, after being told I don't have a warrant, directly by Officer Leonard via text, and I'm arrested. No drugs on me, no drugs at my apartment when they arrest me, but I'm arrested. After I try to show Officer Leonard proof that my apartment was broken into by Chenoweth and my neighbor upstairs, Stephen Somerville. The same person that pointed the cops in the direction of my apartment. It's a mess. Okay, so after this, Leonard proceeded to taunt me. He showed up in my laundry room. He, from what I remember, showed up at my job. I've been told since that I'm mistaken about this, but I haven't ever been shown proof that I'm actually mistaken. I've just been told that by another officer, or Detective Gates, Captain Gates. I don't know. I forget what all the ranks are. So anyway, the worst happened August 2nd, 2024. Officer Leonard led a 5-officer traffic stop on me and my partner, Eric Petty, for a cracked windshield, a proxy attack that inevitably resulted in felony charges against Eric. They had to let me go. They stopped me thinking we had a bunch of drugs on us. And then when they found an empty weed bag and an empty pipe under Eric's seat, they felt stupid and they had to arrest somebody. Couldn't be me, so anyway. A KHP trooper at the scene agreed that the stop was excessive and that city cops were dirty. But in the official report, when I filed a complaint with Captain Gates, his memory conveniently failed. Also, I have done a Cora request since just not that long ago, maybe a week ago, and I was informed by KHP that they have no record of this stop from Trooper Sawyer's perspective. Okay, so there's that. It got worse. I can't believe I've already been talking for fucking almost 15 minutes, but it's a lot. I just hope that people care enough to watch this. So, because it's my livelihood, it's my future, it's the future of my daughter. Okay. So, November, after being homeless because I was evicted from my apartment because my door was kicked in, I was able to get an apartment with my partner, Eric Petty, and we got moved in, and then 2 weeks after we got moved in, he left one night and never came back. Looking back, I can't necessarily blame him per se. He did leave me for his ex, but, you know, our entire relationship had been eclipsed by this harassment that I was looking at, all because I was trying to defend myself and fight back against a narrative that wasn't true, that they were trying to portray. So, he left, okay? And going through his Facebook after he left, because, you know, that's what girlfriends do, I found a conversation between a Facebook profile and it was named, well, it had the same picture of the same girl, but, you know, the name was Isabel Hernandez or Ashley Bell. There's a conversation, of course, on the district court website that, I mean, all of this is on the district court website. This is all verifiable information. So, anyway, I found out that, basically there was a cop that was behind these profiles pretending to be a 13-year-old girl and had attempted to entrap Eric at the time of that conversation. Now, I was grieving, I was sad, going through a breakup, so it took me a couple months to kind of snap back to reality and see what was really going on. And I noticed an uptick in arrests for electronic solicitation of a minor. So I sent a message. I sent a message to the Ashley Bell profile. And here's proof of that mess. It says, "You're a cop, for real?" That's the message I sent. And then the bottom says, "Yeah, I'm probably going to have to delete this account," which is confirmation that it is, in fact, a cop. Which is wild, because, I mean, if you're a cop and this is supposed to be, like, super secret, wouldn't you just block me? Obviously, you felt cocky enough to admit that and think it was cool. So, okay. So you have to keep this in mind, I'm already dealing with a cop lying and trying to take away my freedom and my civil liberties. So, at that point, January 14th, I exposed him publicly on Facebook and tagged Hutchinson Police Department. You can't really see it very well. This is all on the court website, okay? But basically it says, "People, please be smart." And by people, I mean men. Use your head. Yes, the one on your shoulders, please. Check ID, yo. What commenced in the comments was a free-for-all, different opinions, blah, blah, blah. People that confirmed Nunnally's name, this Detective Nunnally. Either way, the very next day, on January 15th, I was contacted directly by Detective Nunnally. And I was at work, so when he called initially, I did not answer the phone. However, I have proof because these are also on the court docket website. If you look at the date, initial contact, I'm going to end up having to, God damn it, whatever. Anyway, shit. Okay, I'll just edit that out. Okay. I'm freaking out a little bit. Okay. I was supposed to stick to the script and I just got so nervous. All of this is on the court website, so I want to try and keep it short. I don't want people to lose interest in what I'm trying to tell them, and I need to just focus on the main points, so I apologize. January 14th, I exposed him publicly on Facebook. On the 15th of January, he called me and, amongst other things, pressured me to take the post down. I refused. 2 weeks later, he texted to confirm where I was working at the time. He says to me, "Hey Jasmine, where are you working these days?" I said, "Who is this? Is this that detective? Detective Nunnally? What kind of question is that?" I ended up having a phone call with him right after that. And about 5 minutes after I got off the phone with him, I was arrested at my job in the middle of the office in retaliation for my free speech. There's more to this conversation, of course, on the district court website in the documents that I filed. Exhibit J, record of May 2025 conversation with Officer Nunnally, shows that I continued the conversation with Officer Nunnally in May of this year and called him out on his inconsistencies, and he claims that everything was just a coincidence. Right. Okay. Lastly, I've had 3 court-appointed attorneys. The first had a conflict of interest because he was going to work for the DA. The second refused to use any of this evidence and quit when I insisted that she do. I've been forced to file these motions myself in a very short period of time between the dates of July 2nd and July 10th of this year, while I had no counsel, basically to force the arguments to be on the public record at all. This isn't a theory. It's public record. The system, the man, the powers that be, they are betting that you won't look into this. I'm betting that you will. Go to the Reno County District Court website, see the case numbers RN 2024 CR 000211 and RN 2025 CR 000082. Read the motions, look at the exhibits, see the lies, the confession, and the retaliation for yourself. You don't have to believe me, but you should probably believe the evidence.